This is the video for homework 4. I have really lost my voice, so I do apologize for the raspiness. This is homework 4 from Unit 1. Section 5.1 is hopefully review solving systems of linear equations with two variables, and then a couple applications to go with that. So a system of linear equations is two or more equations with two or more variables. This section focuses on 2. The next section focuses on 3. With the goal of finding an ordered set of values. It could be 2, like a pair, or 3, or it could be more than that. So an ordered set of values for all of them, the point of intersection for 2 or 3 or however many you have. This can also be done for nonlinear. So if you take more classes beyond this, you might see some nonlinear systems. So the first thing we're going to practice is determining if the ordered pair that's given is a solution to the system. In order for it to be a solution to the system, it has to be true for both given equations. So if we look at part A, we have x and y. We're going to plug it into the first equation, see if it works. Then we're going to plug it into the second equation and see if it works. So if we take this point and plug it into the first equation, that would be 6 times 1/2 plus -5. And I want to see if that equals -2. So 6 times 1/2 is 3 minus 5. And I need to know if that equals -2. As soon as you know whether or not it's going to be true or false, you can stop. You don't have to keep going. So I know that 3 minus 5 is -2. So I know it works for that first equation. Looking at the second equation, I'm going to plug that same point in to see if it works for that equation as well. So 4 times 1/2 minus 3 times -5. And I want to see if that equals 17. So 4 times 1, oh, sorry. Interruption by a kitten. Okay. 4 times 1/2 minus 3 times -5. And I want to see if that equals 17. So 4 times 1/2 is 2. -3 times -5 is positive 15. Does that equal 17? Yes, it does. As soon as you verify yes or no for both, again, you can stop. You don't have to keep going. If they both work, the answer is yes. If one or both do not work, the answer is no. So let's try that for the second one. We're going to plug in 0 for x and -2 for y into both equations. So 6 times 0 plus -2. I want to see if that equals -2. And you can see that it does, or you can keep working if you need to. In the second equation, 4 times 0 minus 3 times -2. I want to see if that equals 17. That's going to be 6. Does that equal 17? No, it does not. So it works for one, it does not work for the other, so the answer is no. For skills practice or student practice 1, it's the same idea. There's 2 different points. You want to plug them in for each equation and see if it works for both. You're welcome to pause the video and try those, and then I'll give you the answers. Alright, for the first one, the answer should be yes. That point should work for both equations here. And the second one, the answer should be no. Again, if it doesn't work for both, the answer is no. So for these problems, we're going to have 3 different outcomes when you have 2 variables, 2 equations, 2 variables. And they're linear, so we're just looking at linear equations right now. Most of the time, you're going to get one unique solution where the 2 lines cross at one unique point. So that's when you get one xy solution. In this example, it'd be 2, 1, the point where they cross. It has exactly one solution if you have 2 intersecting lines. sometimes you're going to get no solution. And we'll look at that here on the next page. If you have two lines that never cross, they don't share any points in common. Those are going to be parallel lines, and it's called inconsistent when there's no solution. So you try to find the point where I have little kittens that keep stepping on the keyboard. Okay. So when you have no solution, that means you have parallel lines. And then the last case is kind of different. You'll notice here you have two different lines. Here you have two different lines. When you have all real numbers, well, not all real numbers, but when you have infinitely many solutions, which we'll talk about when we see an example, what that means is that you have two different equations. You'll see one equation here, and it graphs a line. It's not going to stay straight, but you'll get the idea. Then you have a second equation that looks different, and you graph it, but when you go to graph it or solve for y, it ends up being the same line again. So this situation is the same line twice. It looks different, but it's the same line twice. Here, it's not all real numbers, and again, we'll talk about why when we get to an example. But you have infinitely many solutions. Every solution to the first line is also a solution to the second line. These are called dependent equations when you have that same line twice. So if it's the same line, you have dependent equations. And we'll see an example of that here on the next page. So let's look at some examples of when you get no solution or infinitely many solutions. I had to pause the video. I misspoke. So we're going to solve these to get a unique solution, and then on the next page we will see no solution or infinitely many solutions. So there's a few different methods for solving these. One is called the substitution method, which we're going to talk about first. Then we'll talk about the elimination or addition method as well. These are both algebraic methods to solve. You could graph these if you really wanted to. You could graph each equation and see where they cross. But we're going to do this using algebraic methods. One is called substitution and the other is elimination. So for the substitution method, the first thing you have to do is isolate one of the variables. And it doesn't matter if it's x or y. Usually there's one that's a little bit easier to isolate. So isolate one of the variables in one of the equations. And these steps should start to sound familiar. This is something that is taught before college algebra, but we look at it again in college algebra. So if you see the coefficients on the variables, if any of them are 1 or -1, that means it's easier to isolate that variable. So in that second equation, when you have plus y, I know that if I just move the 4x to the other side, then I will have isolated y. So y equals -4x plus 5, and it's okay to write 5 minus 4x as well. So we have now isolated y to be equivalent to this other expression. Once you've isolated one of the variables, your second step is to substitute into the other equation. You're always going to have two equations to work with. So we're going to substitute into this top equation. So we're going to have -5x minus 4, and then instead of y, which you see here, I'm going to take that y out, and I'm going to replace it with what I solved, -4. Sorry about that. -4x plus 5. And then it still equals 2. So again, I'm going to replace this y with what it's equivalent to. And that way the whole equation is all in terms of x. We can only solve for one variable at a time. So we have to isolate it down to one variable to be able to solve. And then we'll solve for x, so negative 5x plus 16x minus 20 equals 2. That'll be 11x equals 22. So x equals 2. So you'll solve for one of the variables. And a lot of times we think we're done, or it seems like we should be done after all that work. And we almost are. We've got the substitution down. We've got one of the variables. But these are always going to have two answers. If you have two variables, you're going to have two answers, x and y. So now that we have x, we're going to plug back into either one of these equations to solve for y. Or you can plug into the isolated equation, which is usually a little bit easier. So if y equals negative 4, I'm going to take that 2 that I just figured out and plug it in for x. And then plus 5, so y equals negative 3. And your solution is always stated as an xy coordinate pair, so 2 and then negative 3. It doesn't matter which order you solve these in, you always put x first and then y for your solution. So that is your final answer there. So